Welcome to the 2020-2021 school year. My name is Andrea Williamson English, and I am the Health Services Coordinator for the Hall County School District. Today we're going to talk about some measures that you as an employee can take to prevent yourself from COVID-19. You may be asking, or you may already know, what is COVID-19? COVID-19 is a virus that is typically considered a respiratory virus, although it can present in a multitude of ways. These include fever, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headache, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion or runny nose, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea. I'm sure you're hearing many new terms such as isolation, quarantine, social distancing, close contacts, and so on. Let's take a look at what each of these terms mean. The protocol for persons infected with COVID-19 includes an isolation period of a minimum of 10 days, with the last 72 hours of that time fever-free and symptom-free without fever-reducing medications. To put it another way, if you have a fever or other symptoms on day 8, then you must wait until those symptoms resolve before beginning the count of the 72-hour symptom-free requirement. The term isolation means to separate sick people with a contagious disease from people who are not sick. If you contract the virus, you will be required to remain out of work for a full 10 days and possibly longer if your symptoms do not improve. We ask that you adhere to all aspects of isolation so that you do not continue to spread the virus to family members and friends. If you contract the virus, your provider will explain the precautions to prevent the spread. Our next term is quarantine. Quarantine, on the other hand, separates and restricts the movement of people who were exposed to a contagious disease to see if they become sick themselves. A quick way to remember the difference between isolation and quarantine is to remember that if the person is ill, then they are sick with COVID-19 and require isolation. Both words begin with the letter I. If you've been exposed, then there is a question as to whether you will develop the virus. Thus, you go into quarantine. Both of those words begin with Q. If a person is placed on quarantine, they will complete the same prevention measures. However, they will need to do quarantine for a total of 14 days. You may be asking, why does the person that has the virus only need to stay home for 10 days, but the person that does not have the virus needs to stay home 14 days? The reason for this is that it may take up to 14 days for a person that is infected with the virus to show symptoms. Although the person is not symptomatic, they are capable of spreading the virus. You may be asking, how can we stay healthy and keep our schools staffed? The answer lies with prevention measures. Although we cannot keep COVID-19 completely out of our schools, we can attain optimal results with mitigating strategies. Social distancing is one of the key ways to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Social distancing, also called physical distancing, is the act of maintaining space between yourself and other people outside of your home. For COVID-19, the safe distance defined by the CDC is 6 feet or approximately 2 arms length. And an exposure is defined as close contact with an infected individual within 6 feet for the duration of 15 minutes or longer. Since you do not know who has and who does not have COVID-19, you need to treat all individuals as if they were COVID-19 positive. How does that translate in a school? As the teacher or employee, you have a great deal of control over how close and how long you allow someone to be near you. First, start with your classroom or office. Place your desk 6 feet away from the student's desk. Space your student's desk as far apart as you possibly can, with the ideal distance of 6 feet or at the very minimum 3 feet apart. If your office has a chair, then measure and move the visitor chair 6 feet from your chair. For teachers, be sure to mark the 6-foot space with a floor sign. Instruct the students to stand on that line if they need to approach your desk. While teaching, be sure you move freely around the students and desks, making sure that you do not stand within 6 feet for longer than 15 minutes. Next, Wash your hands often and avoid touching your face, in particular your eyes, nose, and mouth. Additionally, allow time for your students to wash their hands. Beyond that, using a hand sanitizer is an acceptable prevention measure to avoid losing teaching time. You will have access to hand sanitizer. On that same note, teach students to cough and sneeze in their sleeve. This step will also help hands to stay cleaner longer. As you might expect, we are working closely with our cleaning company. They are working diligently to keep our schools clean and decrease viral spread. They have shared tips with us to help them take better care of us. According to our cleaning company, keeping your desk cleared as much as possible will enable the cleaning products to reach more surface area on your desk, thus eliminating those germs. We are also asking each teacher and employee to take a moment at the end of the day to wipe down commonly touched surfaces, such as doorknobs, phones, and computers. You will be provided with cleaning materials as well as the proper way to use the cleaning product. After all, using the cleaning product properly ensures the maximum benefit. Another technique is wearing a face covering in the presence of other people, which includes while you are at school. Please select a face covering that is comfortable to you. A face shield is an acceptable alternative. If you are alone in your office or classroom, you may remove your face covering or face shield. Please refer all 6 students to the clinic. If a student has any symptoms of COVID-19, he or she will be sent home from the clinic and the appropriate social distancing will be provided in a designated space. Due to FERPA and HIPAA, privacy is of the most importance. So what do you do if you must isolate or quarantine? Please notify your principal or supervisor immediately. You are required to self-report. Do not report to your work location. Additionally, you will also receive a call from one of our team members to review the criteria to return to work. In most cases, you will not require a healthcare provider note to return to work. We will notify the Department of Public Health so as to expedite the contact tracing process. One of our team members will contact you to begin the contact tracing efforts within the school system. Contact tracing is the process of identifying individuals exposed to an illness. These individuals will be considered a close contact. If you are COVID-19 positive, one of our team members will ask if you have been within 6 feet of another person for 15 minutes or greater within the last 2 days of symptom onset or receiving a positive test. My hope is that you will be able to answer no with regard to your fellow coworkers and students. We anticipate that you will name your family members as close contacts, but our aim is that you have used all of the strategies we discussed today to prevent a CDC-defined exposure, as in 6 feet for 15 minutes or greater. The last and final prevention strategy is to stay home when you are sick to avoid rapid spread of the virus within our schools. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope you've learned a great deal about how to protect yourself from COVID-19. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to your school nurse.